Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's good, isn't it? I'm happy being out of focus when that looks that good. This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream. Get access to my streaming video service Nebula when you sign up for CuriosityStream using the link in the description. Hi, my name is Mary Spender, and welcome to part 2, or just a second video about my new studio space. A month ago, I made a video called How I Designed My New Studio Space, which featured a bit more information about the furniture and the palette, and featured Daniel Titchener too. So go and check out that video if you haven't already. The link is in the description. But now I'm just going to answer your questions. I made sure to collate all the topics and all the variety of questions I got. So let's start. The first question comes from Paul. Paul asks, can I come? Yes, Paul, you are always invited, of course, but only if I can come and see your new studio. How many times did you have to move the room around until it felt right? It started off the completely opposite way around. So on this back wall, there was a gigantic desk that I kept for a while. Then I realized that was a terrible idea, and I reverted back to my normal desk, which I actually made a dedicated video on. So if you actually want to know more about the equipment I'm using, I still have the same setup as my old studio in terms of tech and gadgets. Again, I will link that in the description. But yeah, this takes up a lot less surface area. And for some reason, at the time that I had it around the other way, I didn't actually have curtains yet. But the lighting, it was really bad, basically. Every time I was on the desk, it was backlit, whereas this felt a little bit gentler. So there are windows, many windows on this side of the wall, which is really great during the day. I get to actually have daylight in my studio space, which is rare. But then, you know, we'll get into it later, it does mean the windows do let in a little bit of seagull noise, basically. Mainly seagulls. But now it feels great. The feng shui of having the relaxing space over there and then desk space over here, and as you walk in the door, you just are just greeted by this like comfort, and yeah, it just feels cozy in here. And it is a small room, so making sure that everything is where it needs to be is very, very important. I don't have a massive amount of space, so yeah, it took a little bit of manoeuvring around, and there were a few moments where I just wanted to stand here and cry because everything was unplugged and it was just chaos. And everyone knows who has either guitars or just music equipment in general, it can get a little bit cramped when you're unpacking things or packing things up or whatever. It's just, it takes up so much space when it's all in boxes and everything. So anyway, so yes, it took a few times, but now it's completely settled, and I don't think I would be able to change it now. It feels too good this way around. Okay, I don't want to shy away from the topic, but I'm definitely not going to give a specific answer because I actually just don't think it's relevant. And Gabe asks, and a number of people asked about the cost of the studio. And Gabe says, do you remember being a small creator and not being able to afford that? No hate. Well, yes, of course I remember. It wasn't actually that long ago in the grand scheme of things, but in terms of YouTube land, it was quite a long time ago. So 4 years ago, I was in the spare room of my house in Bristol. And then until recently, I was in the spare room of my flat in Brighton. But this space looks a lot more professional. And that's because I've actually invested money, not necessarily in the room because it's not soundproofed, and it was an existing building, but because of the things like the curtains and extra lighting and, you know, the mood lighting back there. I just wanted you guys to notice that I'm a professional content creator and musician, and there's a time and a place for this kind of vibe, and I think the time is now. I want to demonstrate a certain level of professionalism when making these videos, and I want you to have something good to look at. I also want to be in an inspiring place, so place and space. So, you know, in terms of cost, I've been working for this for quite a few years now, and it is what it is and has to be for me to get the look that I want. But it's not necessary when you are starting a YouTube channel, and it kind of is starting to look like there's a cost of entry to YouTube because people are seeing people with, you know, good lighting and better cameras and everything's in 4K. But really, none of that matters. It's all about the story. Most of my successful videos have been shot either in my old spare room or in, like, on location in guitar stores. So you can be anywhere. You just have to have a camera. Everyone has an incredible camera now on their phones, and the audio on your phone is remarkable too. So yeah, and I remember being a small creator, and if I'd seen myself now a few years ago and saw where I would end up, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. So I hope I got my point across with that. H of the Stage and Paul ask about lighting. So I use now, and this is a very new acquisition, in an Aperture Dome 2, which is stupidly large and not necessary whatsoever. But I like just lighting myself, and I like having a darker background, and I learnt from my professional videographer, documentary filmmaker friend, Mark, how to set up a professional rig in this room. So the aperture light is amazing, but completely unnecessary. And then I've got this RGB light stick from Godox that does miraculous things. And this was the coolest thing I think I've ever bought. And I sort of didn't know what I would use it for when I bought it, but then you guys have seen I use different colors. It has all these crazy effects. So it would actually be useful in terms of music videos and maybe short films too, because you can sort of replicate a police light and other things, like the difference between police, ambulance and firefighter. It's hilarious, but anyway, it's completely unnecessary for doing that in this room. But yeah, that's what I use. And then I use newer lights too. I have 2 newer lights that were from my old studio, and I bought them off Amazon years ago, so I have no idea of the make or model, but I think they're just bi-color LED panels. So lighting is really important when you're working with cameras. You have to make sure there is enough light for things to look good, and I've made so many errors, as you may have noticed over the last few months, of getting to grips with the sort of professional standard of lighting. But it's starting to look good. It's starting to look good. So thanks for the questions about lighting. Okay, questions about keeping the studio clean and organized. Firstly, I clean it up before every video. My desk right now, which you can't see, is a complete mess, as it always is. There are cameras, hard drives, my phone, post-it notes, notebooks, a hairbrush, a mirror, my makeup, and a water bottle. So you can't see all of that. That's all a mess. And then the rest of this, it's pretty busy during the day. Like, my bags are on it and people come and hang out in here. So, you know, they contribute to the mess too. But otherwise, I try and tidy it up as much as possible. But basically, I don't know if anyone else feels this, but looking after yourself and keeping yourself clean and organized takes up quite a lot of my day, and including my flat too, but it's incredibly important, so please do more of it. I didn't hear a mention of aircon, and considering the absolute state of the UK right now, I know this pain. Okay, so this question was from a few weeks back when we were going through a heat wave. The aircon I have in here is rendered kind of pointless at the moment, and it takes up a lot of space and is kind of hideous, but very necessary for the days when it counts and for cooling down this room, because a lot of natural light just heats up the room. The sun just comes beaming in. So yeah, aircon is definitely a must. Also in England, we don't really have it built in, so you kind of have to find your own air conditioner. Simon and a few other people ask about my guitar collection. I think I'm just gonna have to save that for an entirely different video, which I will make possibly in a few months' time. But I keep the majority of my guitars here, but then I also keep them at home. If anyone's seen my house renovation tour, you'll see which ones I keep at home, and they just really keep me inspired all over. But let's talk about the guitar hooks. The guitar hooks come from String Swing, and the ones in my house, not the ones here, the ones in my house I actually put up myself, and I'm pretty new to house DIY. I've just moved into the first flat that I can actually make amendments to, and it's always been a dream of mine to have guitars hanging up on the walls as much as possible because I just want them up and out of their cases. I know there might be some issues with humidity, but I play the majority of them quite a lot of the time, so I want them at my fingertips. They are tools to me, and I don't want them hidden away or anything like that. So String Swing, thank you very much for sending me those, and they take the weight. They are completely indestructible, and I know that they've served millions of people. So yeah, go and check them out. They're amazing. So moving on to the topic of soundproofing neighbours and the outside bringing in noise that affects the ability, my ability to actually record. Yes, I live in a city, and all I think about when there are city noises coming through, I think about the benefit of living and working in a city, and then I also think of how Casey Neistat at 368 Broadway managed to create 800 videos, and I know that he had crazy things happening outside his window all the time, and he just owned it, and it's YouTube. I want to have amazing sounding videos as much as I possibly can, but sometimes things get in the way, and you know, you just have to power on through. This space is not perfect. This will definitely not be my final studio space. So I've just learnt a lot, and yeah, I've just got to grin and bear it sometimes. Okay, a ton of questions about the next topic, so I'm just gonna have to switch camera angles to make sure you can actually see it. So a ton of questions, but Rachel asked, who made your diffuser? Okay, I am particularly proud of this part of the studio build, and it's always been a dream of mine to have a Skyline Diffuser. I asked on Instagram whether anyone knew anyone that would build such a thing for me, and the first person that reached out was Luke from Method Designs. Although it happens to look awesome, it actually serves a purpose, and even when a room isn't soundproofed, you can still treat it by basically avoiding having any flat walls. This wall art, with a function, diffuses or scatters specific frequencies of sound waves. So basically, when I'm sat at my desk mixing with my monitors, the diffuser disperses that audio and interrupts it from firing directly back at me. This Skyline Diffuser has a set mathematical grid for the blocks, which also have specific widths and lengths for the diffuser to work. The fixings have been specifically designed behind 4 blocks for a very solid fix to the wall. This means that the diffuser sits flush, with no unwanted fixings on show. Along with having some positive acoustic effects to the studio, it's also a stunning piece to have up on my wall, to admire and in the backdrop of my videos. Luke, who built it, is a one-man band that manufactures a whole host of items. He has an engineering background and love of design. He went above and beyond for me, so go check out his Etsy, Instagram and Facebook pages. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's good, isn't it? I'm happy being out of focus when that looks that good. Whew. Very proud. Very proud. Back to the desk. Okay, Daniel asked, what's your favourite thing about the new studio? My favourite thing is about actually the videos I'm making. Now I'm starting to see my progression just within this room, and the way I feel when I walk in, I know I'm at work. And I've always wanted a separate workspace from my living space, and this is it. And yeah, it just means I come to work with a different level of professionalism. This room has already inspired so many concepts and is already so special, and I love the whole thing. But also this light is badass. I love it. I love the positioning of it. I love the fact that I have that now in the background, and yeah, but mainly the videos I get to make in this room. That's my favorite thing about the studio. Final question, why do you look like my bassoon teacher? I don't know. Why does your bassoon teacher look like me? On that note, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, comment below with your favourite part of the studio, and otherwise, I'll be seeing you very soon. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned Nebula, my amazing streaming platform, which is where I'm hosting exclusive and ad-free videos alongside other YouTube creators you might recognise. Let me just show you what my channel looks like, as I upload extended versions of my Tuesday Talks interviews, as they can be pretty long and in-depth, and that wouldn't quite work on YouTube. I've been making exclusive content too for Nebula, so if you haven't seen my home renovation project film, or the behind the scenes of the Cabin Fever EP, my production breakdown of my version of Last Train Home by John Mayer, let alone all my extended interviews with Josh Turner, Cory Wong, Tomo Fujita, Molly Tuttle, then you are missing out. The best way to access Nebula is to sign up to a subscription for CuriosityStream, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. For a limited time only, they are offering 26% off their annual plans, which is less than $15 a year for CuriosityStream and Nebula, which is an amazing bundle. If you aren't already aware, CuriosityStream is the best place on the internet to see thousands of the world's finest documentaries and non-fiction titles. It is the biggest documentary streaming subscription platform founded by John Hendricks, who also founded the Discovery Channel. My documentary pick is Frank Sinatra, or America's Golden Age. It sets the scene with Frank Sinatra's humble beginnings and moves through his career spanning more than 5 decades. It shows how he became the most popular entertainer in the world through music, movies, radio and TV, but doesn't neglect the difficult moments of his life. If you want to study an excellent voice and learn more about the New York crooner, then you should check out the documentary. We worked out a deal that if you sign up for CuriosityStream with the link in the description, you'll also get a Nebula subscription for free. And just to give you a little more information, that Nebula subscription isn't a trial. It's free for as long as you're a CuriosityStream member. Once you use the link or code MarySpender, you'll get a welcome email from Nebula giving you access. So if you click on the link in the description or go to curiositystream.com/MarySpender, it helps me and my fellow creators keep on doing what we're doing. It really helps more than you know, so thank you.